All right, so say he's found guilty of this. What does a typical sentencing look like for a crime of this nature? And how soon after the sentencing will the Dallas Cowboys try to sign Richard Sherman?
This guy. See what we got.
I'll start with the question. I think it depends on how far into Hard Knocks they're filming, because Jerry Jones can never deny himself a story.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upside alert. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That
is? Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Welcome to episode 66 of Birds vs. Boys. We are another week closer to the NFL season. We are under 9 weeks away from the Dallas Cowboys and the Super Bowl defending champ Tampa Bay Buccaneers opening the season in Tampa. And we're less than a week away, Aidan, from the Cowboys heading to training camp, since they will be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Hall of Fame game this season. So I am actually getting super excited. We have a lot to talk about in this episode, including the issue with Richard Sherman. I'll let you tell everybody the guest today, but I was not here last week. I miss you. How are you?
I'm on the threshold of hell.
So great. That's how you're doing.
No, I am. I do not have air conditioning. This is the worst. Why would anyone live in the dark ages? Like back in the Civil War times, they just didn't have air conditioning and walked around in those huge coats. Like, what was wrong with them? This is awful. I live in a glorified sauna right now.
So that, I don't know. I think you did listen to the first episode of Spitballin', Branded Sports' brand new podcast with myself and CEO Joe, your mortal enemy. But he was saying we went through the NFC West mascots and which mascots we could win in a fight to the death with, the actual mascot, not like the fake little mascot. And he said the 49er would whoop our ass, he said, because anybody who lived before air conditioning could just beat him up in a fight.
No, because you lose the will to live. They're looking for a way out. Why do you think their life expectancy was like 32 years? They got married when they were 14 and we're like, oh, that's weird. No, it's because you only lived 32 years. If I lived without air conditioning like that every day, if someone just tried to attack me in a scenario like you guys were talking about, I'd be like, have at it, pal, because I'm about done with this place.
Could you walk across America to go dig out some gold every day in a mine? That dude will, I don't know.
I walked in this apartment. Pretty much the same right now without this air conditioning.
Just minus the gold.
Also, let's talk about this little Spitballs, this new little podcast on the block. We touched about it last week when you weren't here. I was here on one knee. Last week, I had a very well thought out blog. I recorded 2 shows. I became best friends with Dan Orlowski. We had some viral tweets. Thank you. I've now recorded 2 shows this week in the sauna. And what do I get on the first episode of Spitballs? You'd think, oh, well, it might be like Kevin being like, oh, I missed recording with Aidan. No, criticism. 2 minutes in from both of you. Ridiculous.
I got to play. I got to play both sides. It depends on, where I am in a situation. I may be, a Republican when I'm at one party and I'm a Democrat at the other party. I just have to, you got to play the audiences that you're with.
I guess.
But I mean, I get his beef. I think you guys need to go on beefing. I think that would be pretty funny if Allie and Joe would ever record another episode. I don't know. Is that show still a thing?
I think it would be funny if they recorded a show where Joe was a host and Joe was also the topic of the beef.
Yes.
I think that would actually be a good concept with me.
I get his beef because, you stole his best friend. So he's, I think, spitballing is a way to try and get me back in his good graces.
And he stole Vince.
Did steal Vince. But Vince does. I mean, I'm glad he stole Vince because, I mean, the clips that he puts out are just phenomenal. I can't lie. The spitball ones look fucking fresh.
I like the Birds versus Boys.
Oh,
Call
I
me
love
old
the Birds.
school.
I mean, that's my number one, my OG baby number one.
Yeah. Well, back to Bert. Sorry to take you away from spitballs for an hour, but the people want to hear the technical notes of what's going on tonight. So the big story as we record today, Richard Sherman arrested, being held without bond. Also might be involved in a hit and run too, but the main charge was a domestic abuse, burglary, domestic violence charge. So we have on Andrew Courtney, Esquire, our new legal counsel that Kevin befriended, and he is now, I'm calling him our sports advisor, lawyer, legal counsel for Birds vs. Boys, all of it.
And fun drinking partner. I'll add that.
Oh, that too. Legal correspondent, drinking partner.
Met him in Turks and Caicos. Great guy. And I love when you meet someone like that, and one, they're a really cool guy, and two, that's just like the perfect person to know.
It was the perfect person to know in a situation like this, because you're going to listen to this interview, and we always fool around a lot, but he said a lot of things for people who probably never took the bar exam like you and I, and made this whole situation make a lot more sense. Because reading a few tweets on it doesn't really help the scenario or the situation. This does. This helps a lot.
Yep.
So we'll get into that. And then also follow us on TikTok, because the TikTok tonight is elongated. It'll probably be heavily debated. Vince is really going to get you on YouTube with that one. And then also follow us on Twitter, because we've been posting a lot of stuff there lately too. So I am ready to talk about actual football.
I'm ready to talk about actual football too. But the actual football topic, that we're not going to be talking about, is Aaron Rodgers. He's playing in Green Bay. Can we just stop? I'm so fucking sick and tired of all these national programs. What's he gonna go? What's he doing? What did he say during the match? He's just toying with everybody. He's playing in Green Bay. Just stop. Where else is he going right now?
Yeah, it's probably the most boring topic in the world. So, I think both of us feel that way.
Yep.
It's just, there's just not a lot of excitement there. Like, we both think he's going back to Green Bay. It's just the media is out of control. The media is toxic. I think that's my only point with the Eagles here tonight too. So Nick Siriani has never coached a game. We do not know how he will be as a coach, as a leader, as the head of the locker room. But yet Michael Robinson of the NFL Network. Can't believe you let me down, Michael. I love the 2004 Penn State team. Can't believe you let me down. He said that there were unnamed sources he knew of in the locker room that didn't believe that Nick Siriani could lead. This has got to stop. They're starving of football content, and they're just making up stories just to have something to talk about. The Aaron Rodgers thing, the Sirianni thing in Philadelphia, like, you're just making stuff up.
I love, I forget who it was. I think it was a beat writer for The Athletic for the Eagles. And he quote tweeted the 94-1 thing. And he's like, funny, haven't heard a peep about that before.
Yep.
All the Lane Johnson coming out, name names. I think, was it Fletcher Cox last night who tweeted who's lying today?
Yeah.
It's just, I love how, well, I hate it because I think it's kind of showing that the team is sick of this as well. And I think this is another thing that they could rally around. But the way that they're all reacting to this, I don't think it could be any more perfect. Instead of just ignoring it and, well, it's the Philly media. Here we go again. They're all right, we're fucking done with this.
Yeah, I feel like we dealt with so many locker room reports from the past few years that the last thing anyone wants to do is have to deal with that again. But here we are dealing with that again. And you don't even know. That's the craziest part. You don't know because he's never coached a game. So Why don't we let him take the field week 1 against Atlanta and then decide? It's just ridiculous. I have been talking with my friends. I think Sirianni's going to be the type of guy who is, when Miles Sanders breaks off a 65-yard touchdown run, he's also sprinting down the sideline with Miles Sanders on the way to the end zone. He seems like he has that type of energy.
And he just seems like why not? He's a young guy. He seems like he's injecting energy into a team that looked flat and dead. He's the perfect type of coach for a young team. Like, let him do his thing. I don't understand why the media, like, are there even people in your fan base that feed on this and enjoy this? Like, why would you want to be a fan of the team and you're like, yep, coach hasn't even coached one game, but I don't think he can do it. Like, go in optimistically. Let the guy prove who he is. And if 2 years, 3 years down the line they suck, then we can have that conversation.
I was about to say, it's one of the rare times where I think everyone in the fan base is actually taking a positive approach and is optimistic. We're like, we'll see what happens. We don't expect to win a Super Bowl. But we have some pieces where like, they could be good. They could be exciting to watch. That's kind of where we're at with it. So when someone comes out and says this, everyone's like, no, we're not doing this. So that's kind of where we're at.
Do you think this was just a big shot in the dark to try and stir shit up from like a 94-1 and they're just like, oh, well, that missed?
Because then everybody runs with it and it's a story, but it's a non-story, but you're still going to click on it because you're like, oh, who would say that? And it's like, and then you read the story and you're like, oh, they don't actually have any names. So it's just all a grab for clicks, for attention, for stuff like that. But I'm with you. We were talking pre-show. Training camp starts soon for the Cowboys. Soon after that for the Eagles. I'm just ready to see them on the field and see Siriani and how he leads and if he is a good coach. And I will withhold my judgment until that time.
There's no reason to judge. There's literally zero reason to judge until product is on the field.
Yeah, very true. All right. I have a little fun thing, but do you want to talk about the Cowboys first since we did the Eagles? Because my little fun thing pertains to both teams.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give my little spiel. So, but first, before I fly into the Eagles, I forgot to tell you. So I go fishing sometimes with my father-in-law, like off the shore fishing for striper, drumfish out of Kmess. So he asked me, I've never been on a tuna trip, and they go on tuna trips, a couple times, once a year, once every other year. And I've always been very hesitant of it. Like, can I be on a boat for 30 hours? I don't know.
Oh.
So we were in Turks and Caicos. We were on the phone. He's like, listen, really want to put this trip together. There's somebody that really wants to go, but I need a certain amount of guys. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll go. I will do this. So he's like, all right, we're, September, we're booked. It's good. It's a Thursday night. So we go out Thursday afternoon. It takes like 5 hours to get to the canyon, get out there. And then you're out there, Thursday night, all day Friday, and then you come back. Sure. Okay, no problem. I can, take off work. The trip is September 9th.
Oh, you screwed up. Oh, man, you did bad.
I did really bad.
You didn't ask the dates beforehand?
I think I did, but I was drinking and I didn't remember. So, I was going to be in Tampa for the game. My buddy Matt Yost and my buddy Anthony, who lives down there, has tickets, and I was going for the game. Well, I don't think I can do that anymore. But so we leave, and we just take the boat out for 5 hours, and I think it leaves around like 8 or so, 7:30. This boat has like a bar area inside with a 42-inch TV and direct TV, Wi-Fi, and bedrooms and shit. So I will be able to watch the game from the boat. So this could be the most interesting game I've ever. You're adding that to the list, Vince?
Vince has an ongoing list that he's shown us before of places he will never go. 1 is space. 2 is anywhere sharks live. 3, Wildwood. 4, Nashville. And 5 that he just added, tuna fishing. Those are Vince's places that he will never go.
Can't wait to that list to just keep growing. But so I will be watching the opening game of the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 42-inch flat screen TV on satellite TV from a fishing vessel.
I thank God that thing has the TV though. Could you imagine just being stranded on the open water for the season opener and you're like, well, I have no idea what's happening.
That's what my father-in-law was like. Just shut your phone off for the entire trip. We'll record it at the house, and when we get back to make the tuna and everything, we'll just watch it then. I'm like,
No,
what?
that's not how society works these
That
days.
can't-
You'll find out.
Yeah, that
You'll find out.
can't happen. Can't happen.
Yeah, there's no chance. Also, if you would have missed the game and they would have won, you couldn't watch another game until they lost. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how jinxes work. That's how superstitions work. There's no chance you're allowed to watch that game.
Yep. My wife would be very happy then, but she'd be like, "Oh, you can't watch the game." But she'd be angry that the Cowboys were continuing to win. But speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, they go to camp in Oxnard in less than a week, like we said, because they play in the Hall of Fame game. They are on Hard Knocks, which I'm excited about, while at the same time annoyed about. Third time that they've been on. I will be all in, obviously. I'll be locked in. It's gonna be an absolute show with Jerry Jones. That they're gonna have anything and everything. There's gonna be made up drama beyond belief. And I feel like this Hard Knocks is going to be projected in the mainstream media like none other before, because it's the Cowboys. And it's gonna annoy the goddamn hell out of me.
Well, this is what you signed up for.
Can you imagine get up the every morning after it airs?
Yeah, every talk show, really. I think Undisputed with Skip, even just like the viral clips, like the viral Twitter clips that'll go, like Bleacher Report will have, and everybody like that. Oh, like you're gonna be tired of you're gonna be tired of this team before you ever see them play.
Your Hard Knocks and national media, please don't ruin Micah Parsons for me before he plays an actual game.
Oh, please don't ruin him for me either.
Please. Because I think he's going to be an animal. The more I watch his tape, the more I think about this pick. Maybe I'm just, it's mid-July, training camp's coming, football's almost here. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. Everybody's 0-0. But I think this is a fucking fantastic pick. And I think he's going to be a beast for them.
I watched a clip of him golfing, and he swung it so hard he couldn't hit the ball, and that's exactly what I want in my linebacker. Somebody who's going to swing so freaking hard that they swing right past the ball. You either got to drive it 500 feet with no sense of direction or completely miss. That's how I know you're good at hitting people.
And he's good at hitting people because you've watched every snap of him since he was in 7th grade.
Yes, that is correct.
Speaking of camp and camp fights and practice, so the Dallas Cowboys were one of 3 or 4 teams that were fined for their OTA workouts. $150,000 fine to the team, $50,000 fine to Mike McCarthy because they practiced too hard. And I could not be more excited about it. That is the most exciting fine I've ever heard about. If I've never been excited about a team or a player of mine being fined, because usually it means a Cowboys player smoking weed or a defensive lineman is in domestic violence, and all those things are never good and horrible. But this I am so excited about, because maybe that means that this team is actually taking this seriously. Maybe Dan Quinn has this defense locked in, unlike Mr. Mike Nolan last year, when I knew in week 1 that we were screwed because they showed a video of him up in the box during the game, and he had his feet up on the fucking table, and he had his little thing like this. And I said, we're done. This defense is going to be terrible. So I am excited about the fine.
Yeah, I think this is, of all the things to get fined for, this is the one you can kind of, it's a little bit different with college kids, like if you get in trouble because you're overworking the college kids, that's one thing. But I guess for a team that has the effort has been questioned in years past recently, I think this is probably a good fine to take on the chin.
I would love if Jerry Jones sent a Brinks truck to the NFL headquarters in New York City, and he just dropped off $100,000 in dollar bills
and pennies.
Yeah, just fucking dumped it in pennies in the middle of Roger Goodell's office.
Yeah, I agree.
How does that get paid? Is it electronically? Do they write a check?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, how do they do that? Does it say from Dallas Cowboys to NFL.
Like,
I don't know.
Jerry's just he's not. I'm sure it's a secretary somewhere or an accountant, but it probably goes right to Roger Goodell.
It has to balance the books. Yeah.
He takes 50 of that. Thank you.
Or when they pay a fine, they pay the fine, and then he slips them a little extra. It's like, here's the fine money.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the money for when it's the third quarter and we need a call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, the Mike McCarthy getting fined 50, do you think Jerry makes him pay it, or do you think Jerry pays it for him?
I think the team pays it. Yeah, I don't think there's any chance that the coach actually has to pay it.
Yeah.
And any team, not just because it's the
Yeah.
Cowboys. I genuinely don't think a coach would have to pay that.
I kind of love that Urban Meyer got fined too. Like first training camp in the NFL.
Yeah.
Jags are getting fined.
Yeah, just has learned nothing. Like Florida, Ohio State, Jacksonville, just trouble follows.
Mm-hmm.
He'll fake a heart attack by week 2.
And he's out. He's
out. He's gonna go right back to FS1 being by the Ohio State Michigan game. He'll be back on the sideline commentating.
And my last point here, because there's a lot. I'm not going to go position by position, everything. Obviously, we're going to be doing that once we're in training camp. 2 things. One, we have a very, very exciting guest. I'm not going to name names yet. Maybe he's a former player, maybe he's not, but he is for the Dallas Cowboys. That is going to be joining the program before the season starts. We're going to be doing a show, hopefully, with a former Eagle, and with this one that we already have locked in for a former Dallas Cowboys player. I'm really excited. He was a very, very good player for the Cowboys, a very fun player. Shout out to our guy, Kyle Yeomans, for hooking this up. But it's an interview that's going to be coming up that you're not going to want to miss. I'm really excited for it.
It's a great lead into the season when we do it.
Absolutely. And last thing, I've been seeing pictures and workout videos from Ezekiel Elliott, and he's not fat anymore, and blah blah blah. I don't even care about that. But the one guy that I do care about that looks absolutely yoked, put on size, he looks fast, is CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb has the opportunity to be wide receiver number 1 for the Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm not underrating Amari Cooper. I just think he has the chance to take the next step in this second season and become a top 5 to 6 type wide receiver in the NFL.
I think that CeeDee Lamb has the potential to be wide receiver number 1 in my heart this season.
I think he'll always be there for you.
He'll always be there
until the Slim Reaper's catching 3 touchdown passes in week 4 in Dallas.
If he catches a bomb to start the game in Atlanta week 1, I will be insufferable. I will swim out to that boat.
But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, I think he's going to be a freak.
Fantastic.
Fantasy football and real life football.
Me too. Yeah. Top 5, maybe both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. I've got one more thing before we go to an interview. Like I said, I had something a little fun that I thought we could go over. And it can pertain to both of our teams. So this past week, the MLB draft occurred. They don't promote it that well, but it was still a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
The Angels had an interesting strategy where they had 20 selections and took 20 pitchers. So all they did was take pitchers. Interesting strategy, but it got me thinking, if it were our teams and they only drafted one position with every single pick, what position would it be?
You want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Secondary. Cornerbacks.
Okay.
Can I do cornerbacks and safety and just lump it in?
Yeah, I feel like that's fair because we got bullpen pitchers, we got starting pitchers.
Yep, exactly.
So I think it's fair.
So give me the secondary, because this secondary is going to be the Achilles heel of this team this year, I believe. The safety position has been a mess, since Woodson played here. I don't even want to hear about Roy Williams. They've never addressed it well. So just throw darts at the board. Hopefully 1 or 2 or 3 stick.
I think I like that strategy for my pick for the Eagles as well. Eventually, one of these guys has to work out. I would say wide receiver. Just the drafts are a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
The infamous Sam Hinkie said that. Just keep drafting, accumulate all these picks. Eventually, somebody's got to work out. So I would say for the Eagles, I'd go with wide receiver. They've already taken 3 wide receivers in the past 5 years, and Aguilar, Jalen Reagor, and now Devontae Smith, not to mention a few others in the second round, like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So I don't know. Just keep drafting them. Maybe one of them will finally work out.
And hey, think about the matchups we would have for the next couple of years if we took 20 corners and you took 20 receivers.
Oh, yeah,
there's going to be
perfect.
some battles.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's actually great. That our answers work perfect. You take 20 corners, we'll take 20 wide receivers, and let's see who works it out.
Let's see what happens.
It's great. But yeah, I thought that was
Football
interesting.
is back, baby. I'm so excited.
We're close. We're close.
I don't want to wish the rest of my summer away because I love summer. I know you're, hate the heat and blah, blah, blah. And I do love fall, apple picking, pumpkin pie, plaid, sweatshirts with shorts, bonfires. It's great. Football.
I was going to say college football is like my number one fall
Oh,
activity, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Pumpkin beer. But I still need my summer. I love my summer. I've been at a different beach every weekend for the last 4 weekends. It's phenomenal. But football being so close makes me so excited.
Listen, I can buy sand and throw it in my living room, and it'll be your beach for this weekend because this is unbearable. Oh,
yeah, you could
also
do that. Just turn on your lights.
Yeah, the big light that we got here for recording. I'll just put it over. You can tan. You can work on your tan. I'll put some sand out. I've got a mini fridge. I'll stock it with some Land Shark and Corona. We'll be good.
I'll bring my beach. Alexa over and just be like, Alexa, play ocean noises.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We'll have the full ocean scene going. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll let one of the neighbor's kids run around and scream and kick up the sand to give you the full beach effect.
Perfect.
But yeah. So
it's like old school. We do some sand in here. Maybe foam.
Great movie.
Our last podcast last week, I sent a tweet. I was like, "Dear baby Jesus,
it's been odd enough putting to pray to a baby."
Well, look, I like the Christmas Jesus best, and I'm saying grace.
Please let us have football because I don't know how many plaid couple pictures at apple picking every Saturday and Sunday I can take on my timeline.
Yeah, the girlfriends in relationships are going to run out of cliche fall Instagram captions by October 12th if there's no football.
Background.
You okay, man?
I'm sorry.
This is my nightmare.
That was from our first show ever.
Yeah.
Or second. Maybe second. Yeah.
63 episodes ago.
It was the first one that we had Vince. And he wasn't like, "Hey, idiot, do you want to use your lights?" He was like, "Let me record this video of you in the dark."
In your hair.
I had the full hair. I was like, what? Yeah, Outer Banks is coming back. I might have to grow it back out.
Oh, that is that. See, Vince, he's always here. He always ready to pull shit up. All right. I think it's time to pull up our guest. No?
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we prefaced it in the beginning. Richard Sherman is the story of the day. Pretty serious allegations against him coming out. So we went to a source that could help explain it for two people who never made it to law school. So Andrew Courtney, Esquire, our legal analyst, legal correspondent, sports legal correspondent, and our legal counsel for this podcast when I get us in trouble. We are going to talk to him about the Richard Sherman allegations, as well as a few other things, a little surprises and wrinkles in there as well. So here he is, Andrew Courtney, our interview presented by Stateside Vodka.
All right, Aidan, we're switching up the guests here a little bit, and we're bringing in the guy that we have on retainer. We've had him on retainer for about 3 weeks since I met him in Turks and Caicos. It's the branded sports / Birds vs. Boys attorney / legal analyst, Andrew Courtney, Esquire. He's just one of our boys, but he's going to help us dive into the Richard Sherman issue. Obviously, Richard is in some trouble, and we want to find out how much trouble. So we bring Andrew in. Drew, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's going on, Kev? How you doing, man? Good. Can't complain. Maybe I'll be able to shed some light on what's going on with Mr. Sherman.
Yes, Aidan will dive into his education, but both of us, I think, need some light to be shed.
All right.
Yeah, let's start there because I had a very bad public school education, so I need a lot of help. So
Gotcha.
can you explain it to a guy like me? Richard Sherman was arrested for burglary, domestic violence. Could you break down what that means? Because in our brains, it sounds like two different crimes.
Yes and no. So I'll start with the legal jargon first, and as I'm explaining it, I'll break it down to layman's terms. So to back up a little bit, Richard Sherman was arrested and charged with burglary, domestic violence. The crime in and of itself of a burglary, most people associate burglary with, breaking into your home and stealing something.
Yeah,
The
you took something from me.
Right. The legal definition of burglary is entering a dwelling, either occupied or unoccupied, to commit a crime therein. For example, if I broke into Kevin's place and damaged all of his property, didn't take anything, and then left, I've committed a burglary. I've committed a burglary criminal mischief, right? So in this circumstance, what the allegations are, again, without looking at the facts, is that Richard Sherman entered a dwelling to commit the crime of domestic violence. And under domestic violence, that could be, a battery, an assault, strangulation, anything along those lines.
Okay, so it's technically is two, but one rolled into
Correct.
one weird kind of donut.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll give you one more example, before we move off of that. A burglar could be any, as I said, dwelling, occupied or unoccupied. You could be burgled in your car. For if you have road rage on the freeway, get to a stop sign and some guy comes up to you and punches you in your car, he's committed a burg battery on you. At least down here in Florida, that's what they call those.
So it's kind of, have you ever watched Entourage?
Yes.
So like when who was it? Drama came out with the golf club and started smashing the guy's car on the freeway. So would that be battery, or not because he didn't attack the guy, just the car?
Just the car, that would be, depending on how much fear the guy was in, assault with a deadly weapon, criminal mischief. But if he had gone inside the car to damage the guy or beat the guy up, he could have been charged with a burg bat.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
got
So,
it. So
yep. Go ahead.
No, it makes sense in my brain now. So burglary is like the act of forcing your way into a premise, where that's why it's different than robbery, because robbery, you're taking something back out.
Correct.
Kind of. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
So
entering any premise that you don't have the authority to be in. I know that, TMZ is constantly updating all of this stuff. So it seems as though the domestic violence has to do with a family member of Richard Sherman, bringing it under that domestic umbrella. And if Mr. Sherman didn't have the authority to be at this home, then, a burglary would be applicable.
that makes sense. So the big thing too, as soon as this came out, when Adam Schefter put the tweet out, and then I sent it to you, and everybody, it blew up.
Yeah, it's going
One
back.
of the everywhere. So one of the biggest things was that he was denied bail, and that was like a huge thing. But now I'm kind of hearing in these situations with domestic violence attached, that's like an automatic.
So yes and yes. In domestic violence cases, because there is a victim that is of high risk, they typically try to hold those no bond until more information is provided.
Got it.
There are certain crimes. Actually, I'll back up. So there are certainly, as a matter of right, you are entitled to a reasonable bond for any crime that you commit, except capital offenses, your murders, your homicides, or first-degree felonies that are punishable by life in prison. Those cover kidnapping, arson, batteries, manslaughters, and things of that nature that fall under that first-degree umbrella. So when you're being held no bond, that's essentially the court and the legislature saying that this crime is so heinous and so egregious that there's no possible way that we can keep the community safe, that we have to hold this person without the benefit of bail.
Makes sense. That makes sense. So I don't know if you've heard it, but now the 911 call is out. It's on Twitter. You can listen to it. It's like 2 minutes long. So his wife calls, and she said that he was telling the people in the house that he was going to kill himself. He was text messaging multiple people saying he was going to hang himself. Can a court sort of like demand counseling, or for him to go to a facility to deal with this if it's like linked within the crime?
as a condition of his confinement, they can definitely order that. And obviously, whoever he has on retainer, his defense counsel would, listening to these messages, either file a motion or rely on the judge or the court at any stage of the proceedings to say, listen, we need to get a mental health evaluation going on because we have serious concerns that he's going to harm himself. At least, down in Florida, whenever they fill out the questionnaires from intake and you fit certain criteria, they put you in a separate unit, usually in a cell by yourself. You don't have your shoelaces, don't have your belt, and they kind of take your clothes and put you in what is called like a big turtle vest. If you look at any of the judicial hearings that we have down here, like on a daily basis, the first appearances, sometimes if you see one of the clients come up and they're wearing like a green smock that's like this heavy, think of it as when you go to the dentist and you have that big radiator blocking thing that led.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they put in. Just to keep you clothed and also prevent you from harming yourself.
Safe from yourself.
Got it. Interesting. All right. So say he's found guilty of this. What does a typical sentencing look like for a crime of this nature? And how soon after the sentencing will the Dallas Cowboys try to sign Richard Sherman?
This guy. See what we got.
I'll start with the question. I think it depends on how far into Hard Knocks they're filming, because Jerry Jones can never deny himself a story. So if they're still filming, they might go and get him right now.
Can you imagine on HBO just Jerry getting into his private jet and flying out to Seattle and meeting him at the jail and taking him out and hugging him and taking him down to camp? Oh, God.
Running up to the practice squad. Listen, we're going to shut down filming for the day. We got to go out here with the Sherman immediately and bring him in here.
God, I have Jerry written all over it.
But to answer the question in all seriousness, I have to say the disclaimer now. Whatever Richard Sherman has been charged with, he enjoys a presumption of innocence and holds on to that presumption up until the time that he may or may not be convicted of the crime. Okay, so to begin now, all of these are just allegations, and the state has a burden of proof to prove that everything that is in the 911 call, in the probable cause affidavit that they hear from the witnesses is actually accurate. So remember the punishable by life in prison concept that I talked about in the beginning. First degree felonies that are punishable by life in prison, obviously, if you were to be found guilty at the maximum end of the sentencing guidelines, it would be life in prison. As far as Washington State is concerned, I looked it up before we started this. I believe that the minimum is 20. So anywhere between 20 years to life in prison is what his sentencing guidelines would be.
Wow.
So this is no joke.
This is fairly serious. And to say that, he's being held no bond now, that is as far as all the information that we have available to us in this moment. There are ways that he could be granted a bond, but that would just depend on how aggressive and vigorous I'm assuming his attorneys are going to be.
And do they usually, so you said, people in situations where they may harm themselves are put into separate areas. Do you think, is it usually the case where like a celebrity or a big sports figure is kept away from like general population where he's being held right now, you think?
Usually when it's a high profile case, the jail wants to cover their own ass. Everybody kind of operates on a heightened alert because you don't want to incur any civil liabilities if anything happens to them while they're in your care and custody. Like, even though he's in jail, he's still in the care and custody of Kings County Court, You don't
want a pissed off Seahawks fan that's mad that he went to the Niners.
Right.
All right. Couple more questions, more on the terms of birds versus boys now. I think you really handled the seriousness, unless Aidan, you have any more real questions.
No, I'm good. That was very informative, and I knew it was serious to begin with, but hearing what that sentence could be makes it even more serious. So yeah. Thank you.
And again, Richard Sherman doesn't have, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have any criminal priors. Is heavily investing in his community, whether it be in San Francisco or in Seattle. There's a litany of things that he has in his favor outside of this specific criminal event that occurred in his life that will lend me to believe more likely than not he's going to be granted a bond. I mean, for the state to hold him no bond, they're essentially saying that, listen, the allegations here are so egregious that we have to deny him his liberty up until trial. That's a very high burden. That's higher than proof beyond a reasonable doubt that you enjoy during trial. That's proof evident presumption great, where the state or the prosecutor's office is basically saying that, not only was a crime committed, but in this instance, Richard Sherman is the one that committed it. So they have to satisfy all of that in order to keep him there. And then after they satisfy that prong, then it will be up to the judge's discretion whether or not to give him bond. So I say all of that to say, you deny bail when there's a risk to the community or the person is a flight risk. I think fairly certain that everybody knows who Richard Sherman is. So he's not going to go anywhere. I mean, if he did go somewhere, someone would recognize him.
Yeah.
So it's going to land on, at least with these charges, it's going to land on the victim, how at risk the victim is or feels threats to their life, or the other allegations that are involved in the investigation with the police.
So, like, if they do let him out on bond or bail, is it normal in a situation like that where they would, like, take his passport away so he's not a flight risk?
If you're the state, if you're the prosecutor's office, that's what standard argument. We want to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere, actually has access to a lot of money, passport, he can leave at any moment. So we want to make sure that he stays here to, face the charges.
Makes sense. All right.
Got it.
So the most important question, I think, within this whole realm here is, I'm wearing a beautiful suit. Aidan put on a beautiful blazer. You got to, we have an attorney here. We have you on retainer. So you have to rate the outfits. Everybody's ranking everything these days. So
don't just rate the outfits. Rate it as if you walked into the courtroom and you had to defend us in court and you saw us wearing these outfits. How would you feel?
All right. If I'm walking into the courtroom, right, and I see both of my clients, obviously, I have to go with the guy wearing the tie. Aidan, you got your shirt on, you have your chain on. You really don't care about what's going on in court. You think this is all a joke, and you don't care about your liberty, don't care about your life or your happiness. So I got to bring the guy with the tie up first, because clearly he wants to go home.
Aidan just wants to go back to the club, head bobbing like that.
Exactly. He just wants to go back to the club, or he just left the club and just showed up to court today. I'm like, haven't heard from this guy for months, and he shows up to me. At least he didn't miss his court date.
At least
so the club might be the reason why I'm here in the first place, wearing this outfit and in court needing to be defended.
You beat somebody up as a bouncer in the club, and now you're facing charges.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a little bit too rowdy, but honestly, I don't care about my liberty or happiness. After the Sixers blew that 25-point lead, that was all out the window. I don't care about that anymore.
That they're still roasting Ben Simmons. I don't know if you guys saw the SB with Anthony Mackie about the whole bricks and building orphanages.
That was unbelievable.
That was rough. That was rough.
God. All right, one more from me. Who wins the NFC East? I know you're from New York. You live down in Florida now. You know my allegiance. You know Aidan's allegiance. Who wins the NFC East in 2021? Way too early prediction.
Way too early prediction. I don't even know, man. I don't even have to hazard a guess. I really don't. I'm a long-suffering Jets fan.
Just don't say the Giants.
See, Aidan laughed. Aidan laughed immediately the minute I said I'm a long-suffering Jets fan. So exactly, I'm gonna have to.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
I'll plead. Thanks, Aidan. I'll plead the fifth on that question because you can know my suffering is deep. It's very, very.
It could be a lot worse in Aidan's mind. You could be a Falcons fan.
Yeah,
that's brutal. Is Matty Ice still their leader?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks.
For now.
For now,
right. Are you guys watching the NBA Finals currently? Because that's all I'm on right now. So
no, I don't. Is it? It's on right now, right? As we speak, or
yes.
no? It didn't start yet.
It is on right now.
Yeah.
We will have it on shortly for sure.
Yeah.
And any predictions from either one of you?
Suns and
yeah. So I was going to say, so me and another guy who works for the same company as Kevin run an NBA podcast. I think we're both He's Suns in 5. I'm Suns in 6.
I agree. I think so.
Yeah.
Suns in 6 at least. That's what
Suns in 6. We'll take.
All right, guys.
All right, Aidan, you got anything?
Nope, I'm all good. I just wanted to let you know, by appearing on this podcast, that means that you officially are legal counsel for any outlandish things that we say and get ourselves in trouble with on this show. Mostly me, as you can tell by the way I'm dressed.
Gotcha.
So thank you for involuntarily agreeing to do that.
Of course, I'm happy to be on retainer. As I said, met Kevin a while ago. He's a great guy. Love conversing with him. And Aidan, hope to get to know you better as well. Just do me a favor, if you do get in trouble, please wear a shirt inside the court.
And
I will guarantee it.
Hold on. Aidan said he knows the answer to the question that you asked my wife and I. Aidan, who is your best friend in 4th grade? He said he knows it right off the top of it.
Yeah, Will Dutrell. Yeah, he was on my baseball team. And we played ping pong in the back of class all the time.
Look at that. Just like that.
It's like that. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you how you remember the guy that he would apologize to again? Just rattling around in here.
That was the next question. If you could go back in your life and apologize to one person, who would it be?
Oh, high school senior year. There was this kid who was a junior. He was super smart, and it was classic, like almost like out of a stereotypical like movie where I played sports and I was a jock, and we were playing volleyball in gym class, and I went up and I spiked it off this kid's face. I've never felt worse, because sports weren't his thing, but he's definitely going further than me in life. He like fixes computers and stuff. Like he actually
you meet the parents, Tim?
You basically meet the parents, Tim?
Yeah.
Like Ben Stiller when he smashed the. Oh God.
I bet to this day he's never forgotten it and never forgets it.
No, I was in front of the whole gym. Like everyone's playing. I felt awful. Like I think I apologized in the moment, but at the same time, the damage was done. I would go back and apologize
one
again.
Day he like hacks into your computer and
yeah, definitely.
Cops are knocking at your door because you have files on your computer that you didn't even know were there.
I know my first call is Drew. If he hacks into my computer, he might be getting a phone call.
Yeah, remember the shirt and tie. That's it. We got it.
Right here. I'll let you borrow the tie, Aidan.
There we go. All right, perfect.
God. All right, Drew. Go watch the NBA Finals. Enjoy Florida. I'll be down there soon. We'll be hanging out, having some banana daiquiris, but we'll be in touch. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime.
Thank you again to our guy on retainer, our legal analyst, correspondent, and the guy that's going to get Aidan out of jail one day, Andrew Courtney. That was phenomenal. Aidan, he broke it down in used big words, but broke it down to the point where I think even Vince could understand.
Low blow with Vince, but yes, it was very informative. I needed it because it's a charge that we hadn't seen before. I think we understood the severity of what happened, but didn't understand the severity of the charges and the sentencing that could occur from this. When he said 20 years to 25 years and just explaining why they aren't allowed to post bond for him right now and just explaining why that's happening, that really made me kind of take a step back and realize just how severe these charges are if they are true. So I'm sure there's more that's going to come to light on that case, but for the time being, having someone on like that to explain it to you and I was perfect.
And yeah, as this progresses, if, God forbid this goes to trial or something, we'll definitely have Andrew back, or if anything happens during the season, any players on my team, probably not your team, get in trouble, we'll definitely bring Drew back in.
And we'll wear suits again.
Yes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you're watching on YouTube, quick wardrobe changes. You gotta dress for success.
We had to be professional. We had a lawyer in the house.
Exactly. That's what you got to do.
And who knows? Listen, if we end up getting Deshaun Watson, I think we will definitely need legal counsel on this podcast.
Yes, you will.
And speaking of Deshaun Watson, let's go to our TikTok for this week, because it's an argument that's being had by a few different sources. Everywhere. And it's a great off-season topic. Our good friend, my good friend, future best man at my wedding, Dan Orlowski, who shouted out this podcast on Twitter a few days ago, has been talking about it. Top 10 NFL quarterbacks going into the 2021 season. Vince, come on in. I know you got your list too.
Yep, ready to go.
I'm sure
right.
the talkers are going to love your list.
Yeah. Oh God. maybe this will be the time that they figure it out, Vince. And hey, we can't do he's 6 this time. So
yep, he's 11.
It's because he was 11th.
He was 11th. That's correct. Yes, I was actually thinking about that, and actually, I'm not going to say it because I'll give it away my list. All right. So we're still going to go in a triangle fashion, but instead of each giving one, we're just going to give our full list and then move on to the next person and then kind of recap at the end. So
we're not giving any analysis, right? Just 10 down to 1.
10 down to 1. Just give the names, and if there's highlight something on the way when you hear another one of us bring it up, or if you have a certain point you want to bring it up at the end. Kind of like book club. You got to read the book first and then talk about it at the end.
Please hold all applause to the end.
Which never worked.
Nope.
Never, ever, ever works. All right, so we're going 10 to 1. All start in the triangle. We'll go to Kevin and then to Vince, and we'll each give 10. So at 10, I've got Kyler Murray. At 9, I've got Matt Stafford. At 8, I've got Dak Prescott. I deliberated on that one. At 7, I've got Lamar Jackson. At 6, I've got Josh Allen. At 5, I've got Deshaun Watson, and I want an asterisk next to it. At 4, I have Russell Wilson. At 3, I have Aaron Rodgers. At 2, I have Tom Brady. And then 1 is obvious. I have Patrick Mahomes.
All right. I'm going to precedent by saying I left Deshaun Watson off this list. I just did it. So he's not in my top.
We probably should have talked about that pre-show. I didn't know if I was supposed to include him or not.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. But maybe Vince could put a little asterisk on my thing. Deshaun left out. All right. So 10 for me. Same brain as always. Kyler Murray at 10. At 9, Lamar Jackson. At 8, Justin Herbert. 7, Dak Prescott. 6, Josh Allen. 5, Matthew Stafford. 4, Russell Wilson. 3, Tom Brady. 2, Patrick Mahomes. 1, Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. Vince,
We just going right into me. I'm not used to not riffing for a second. So I started at 32. We're going to jump from 32 to 9. 32, I have Derek Carr. 9, I have Ryan Fitzpatrick. 8, Tom Brady. 7, Carson Wentz. 6, Justin Herbert. 5, Matthew Stafford. 4, Russell Wilson. 3, Josh Allen. 2, Aaron Rodgers. 1, Patrick Mahomes. I had a couple wild cards in there.
Okay. We'll break. How about we break down each other's list real quick? Vince, let's start with yours.
Yeah, I blacked out there during Vince's.
I cannot wait for the screen on TikTok to say 32 and then 9.
Did you have Dak Prescott or did I miss that?
I did not. I had Carson Wentz.
Listen. This is one of those ones though. If the TikTok kids can't figure out that there's a little bit of humor involved in this one, it's never gonna happen. It's just
also had Ryan Fitzpatrick. Don't know if you picked that one up.
I feel like that one, like maybe you could. People love the beard and think he's better than he is. He's a bit overrated, but
Honestly,
think he could pull that one off.
I have him on here just for being a good sport. You know, he's like, let me come into Washington and try to fix this up for them.
Was he ahead of Tom Brady? Did I hear that correctly?
No, of course not. He's 9.
Fitzpatrick's 9?
Yeah. Tom was 8.
Okay.
Behind Wentz, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford.
Okay.
Not Dak Prescott.
He was 11.
He was 11. All right. Kevin, let's go to your list. Same brain with Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. Justin Herbert was in there, and both of you guys had Justin Herbert, and I didn't. And that's like going to be my breakout guy all year. So I thought that was interesting. Yes. And then you also had Aaron Rodgers at 1 instead of Mahomes. What do you think?
He's the MVP. I feel like he's also going to be going into this season with a major chip on his shoulder. We just saw how he attacked the match and just seemed locked in. I'm not saying I think it's 1A. I really, when it really comes down to it, you can flip flop them. I would have no problem with Mahomes being at 1. But yeah, I just think it's that close. I just like Aaron Rodgers a lot. But I wanted to ask you how you thought about my Matthew Stafford at 5. I think he is unbelievably underrated. I think he is an incredible quarterback who's just been stuck in hell for his entire career. And now he has the opportunity to be with Sean McVay, some actual weapons that the teams just don't take away from him, like Calvin Johnson, and then ask for money back from Calvin Johnson. And I think he has a real opportunity to actually be an MVP candidate in LA.
Same brain. I also had Matt Stafford at 5.
Oh, there you go, Kevin.
All right, so Matthew Stafford at 10.
At 10, yeah. He was 11th.
Yeah.
So I thought it was high, but nothing too crazy. The thing I deliberated on the most when making my list was Stafford or Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
You had Lamar at 9, and I gave Lamar the edge because of his mobility, and he seems to be ascending, where Matthew Stafford, no knock against him, but, I mean, it has been over a decade in the league, so you got to assume it's descending. I think this will be the –
I factored the team move into it, too.
Okay, yeah, that too. So, yeah, I was going to say, that should give him an enormous boost, and probably, hopefully, his first playoff win ever.
Yes. And I think I honestly, you know me, I am not a Dallas Cowboys homer. I may get hammered by Cowboys fans. I think Dak Prescott at 7 is right where he is.
I had him at 8, so it's not, I think that's fair.
I was debating Wentz or Dak, which is something we don't really do much here, debating Dak or Wentz. But like you said, I factored in the team move.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't hate that. I actually seriously may put Carson at 11.
Okay, so when I started saying, and I was like, we were making the he's 11th joke. That was what I was going to say. Is that when making this list, I was actually thinking Carson's probably 11.
I think he would be for me.
Carson Wentz and Frank Reich together. It's a package. I guess a package deal that. Like me and Aidan, two of the very few people that understand what that fully means. But I think I have him at 7. I think that's even a little low.
I think
last time he was with Frank Reich, he was the MVP.
With this team that he has the potential, I think on my list, he could jump Kyler Murray. He could jump Lamar Jackson and has a chance to jump Justin Herbert. So if I put him at 8, 7, I don't think he's going to jump Josh Allen. I mean, I don't know. He could have an MVP type candidate season again too. Yeah. We don't know.
Hey, listen, this isn't what this segment was supposed to be, but listen, he's got great weapons. He's got a great coach. He's on a well-run team, and he's got a great offensive line, and their defense is good. I mean, come on.
I'm sweating.
Me too. I turned off my air conditioner for this, and I'm getting a little hot.
Yeah. But no, it's a little bit outlandish right now to put him in the top 5, put him in like a 6 or 7 conversation. Don't think it'll be that far-fetched by the end of the season. That's my hope. But for right now, I think we all had pretty solid lists. I can only imagine how.
Say so.
No, I was to say I can't wait to see who we forgot. Probably Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan or some name where you're like, really? Like, have you watched like any other football teams aside from your own?
Ryan Tannehill is going to be a big one in the comments. I could feel it coming.
Yep. I feel bad about forgetting his teammate, but I don't feel bad about this one.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, so Titans fans have dragged us. Titans fans have dragged us for Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, and Julio. They dragged us for not having them high enough on our list. I still get comments every single day saying that they're not like Julio and AJ Brown should be number 1. I get them every single day on that TikTok still.
I know. So, yeah. It's so funny.
I think they're going to be a little mad.
One last question for you, Aidan. If you took Deshaun Watson out, like I did, would that mean you would just move everybody up and then Carson would be sitting at 10 for you?
It would. I would probably put Carson or Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I really, really believe in Herbert being this breakout candidate. We've seen so many quarterbacks take that next step year or two and just become the guy. whether that's because they finally get the chance to start or anything like that. Carson that happened to him as well, his rookie season, then became an MVP candidate in year 2. So I think Herbert's the next one to take that step. So it would probably be either Carson or Justin Herbert.
Couldn't agree more.
And as another guy with bad skin, I think Justin Herbert as your breakout candidate is pretty funny.
Oh, that's a low blow. Now I feel less bad about him Kevin insulting you with the intelligence thing.
Yes.
Well,
thank you.
Only one of us here has worked in the legal field, so you better watch your mouth.
Uh-oh.
Don't make me get Drew back on here. All right. Goodbye, Vince. That's all I got.
That's all I have left in the tank.
Yeah,
I sweated it all out.
Are you going to go shower? Nice cold shower?
Yes, I've been taking cold showers. I've been putting my head in the freezer. I have this ice pack for my knee. It's that like it molds around your knee.
Yep.
And I've been putting it on my neck like a fighter in round 7 of 12. It's been quite a week.
Could you just like sleep at your office? Bring like a cot?
Here's the thing. My office, the air conditioner doesn't work in my office. I have a fan. Like I have a fan. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, that's wild.
Awful work conditions.
I know. It's so annoying. I got the window open like during the fall and spring, and I have a fan and everything like that. The air conditioning works in the building. It's just my specific office that it doesn't work. We have individual offices, but in the office in general, and mine is the one that doesn't work. So no matter where I go, I can't breathe.
He's putting the heat on you.
Yeah, literally.
All right. So thank you again to Andrew, for joining us, Esquire, our legal correspondent. Thank you all for listening and watching 66 episodes. And we have a lot planned during training camp. Guest-wise, we might even be doing an on-location episode coming up soon that we're really excited about. So big things coming for Birds vs. Boys. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, Spotify, where else? Google, anywhere. We're everywhere. So click the link tree. Everything you need is there. And just spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, even if they're not a Cowboys or an Eagles fan, they will enjoy something about our podcast.
Probably our suits.
We will catch you on episode 67 next week. Thank you for listening or watching. This was Birds vs. Boys, brought to you by
Stateside Box.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be one.